Here's a question for the parents out there. What would you do if your child was suspended? Would you take away the things they love, like the video games, the TV, the computers, the iPads, the laptops, all electronic devices? You tried all that, but it didn't work. What if your next method was to go around to help out the community as punishment? For these two people you're about to meet, the middle child got suspended, and what happened next would cause a stir on Facebook. Take a look.
Thinking, what can I do for something? Thinking, what can I do for something? Thinking, what can I do for my son as a punishment?
Nia Williams is a mother of 4 when she found out her middle son, Amarian Johnson, a 10th grader in San Joaquin County, was suspended from school for 5 days. She tried a different method to teach her son a valuable lesson. But instead of normal things like taking away a video game, an iPad, or a cell phone, Nia wanted something more.
My yard is already done. He's done the yard perfect all summer since it's the first time that he got suspended. So I said, you know what? We're going to go outside of our house and start helping other people.
Nia put up a Facebook post offering her son's free lawn mowing services to the disabled, elderly, or people in need. And to her surprise, dozens of people offered to help.
I just thought it was such an awesome thing what she was doing. And so I just thought, if we could help and we could save a couple hours this weekend, we could help her teach her son, what she wanted to do in this whole process.
So Amarian hit the ground running, one lawn at a time.
I really appreciate this from her. I didn't really know what to say. I love you anyway.
While Amarian says he's actually enjoying the extra labor.
After doing like 1 or 2, I started easing into it. I started liking doing it.
His mother is hoping this lesson in hard work keeps her son out of trouble, while teaching him the value of giving back.
But at the end of the day, I still felt great about teaching the lesson to my son.
I felt like I took away from the community, so I guess it felt good giving back to them.
All right, that's our Charmaine Nero reporting there. What an awesome mom. And by the way, he's not finished. Omarion says that he's going to continue to mow lawns even after his suspension. This time, though, he might ask for some cash to do it. Are we going to send it?
Well, I would not even imagine this happening, but would this be considered a great punishment? Here's a common sense question. Yeah, we're going to throw in our common sense alert. It's actually going to be a common sense question. Would you consider this punishment or a lesson? I would not say both. I would say a great lesson. I would say it's a great lesson to teach your child. This one happened back in 2019. Now let's go move on to a different story. We talked about this last season, but we have not raised common sense. We talked about public punishment last season, and now we have not talked about common sense. We're also going to talk about it on Throwback Thursday, because this is like one of my favorite stories ever. Take a look.
Sam, show everybody this is what happens when we skip school.
Richard Lumley Jr. is Shannon Haswell's 12-year-old son. She approved of the public discipline and some of her own.
Oh no, you're punished off the bike for 2 weeks. Everything's gone. No Xbox, no bicycle, all gone.
Richard and his friend Corey Myers were sweeping the streets of Ambridge today. They skipped school, but both wound up getting a lesson in obedience, and it drew lots of attention.
Did you learn your lesson? Matthew?
Donated by the police department, the boys went out armed with brooms, dustpans, and T-shirts declaring their disobedience under police supervision.
I figured
Instead of sending them home to watch TV because they're both suspended from school, they figured we'd come out here and clean the street a little bit.
They asked if I felt this was appropriate, and yes, I do.
Don't bother digging through the bushes. Let's get this.
In fact, it was Shannon who called police after learning her son never made it to school. Officers found the boys about mid-morning near an abandoned building. Have you learned a lesson today?
Yeah,
What is it?
not to skip school anymore.
What about you, Corey?
Not to ditch school anymore.
A break in the action for lunch for these two 12-year-olds while they have a heart-to-heart talk with Ambridge officer Mike Natale about why it's never a good idea to skip school.
In-school suspension does nothing for kids. Right now, they're more embarrassed than anything.
In Ambridge, Alan Jennings, Channel 11 News.
Well, we don't have time to break up the break, so we're going to do a 40-second compare and contrast. So comparing this to the lawn mowing to teaching community, this being, it's awesome. But look at the comments. Awesome punishment. Education's important. Humiliation is never proper punishment. So comparing this to the lawn mowing kid, I mean, helping out the community is a great lesson. Free labor. Not a public punishment. We're gonna have more about public punishment on a Throwback Thursday, but we got a show to do. We got more show to do. All right, what you even think about being a pastor and not being able to spend your taxes? Up next, we're gonna tell you about a pastor who did not spend his taxes on all of his houses, and later we'll find a Dateline story I think you might like. It's all about women's self-defense. Stay with us. Would you consider living in this house? Imagine, it's one of the lifestyles of which you're famous, but we're not talking about Bruce Wayne. We're talking about the mega rich pastors who live in houses like these, like this. And this pastor here has taken the cake when it comes to not paying taxes. Tonight, you're going to meet this man, and he might give us a reason why he does not pay his taxes. By that we mean property tax. Here's Lisa Guerrero.
They look like the homes of the rich and famous. Glamorous multi-million-dollar mansions in stunning locations.
I have a name to my house, La Maison de Rêve, the house of dreams.
But movie stars don't live there.
Are you financially independent like I am? I know what the heck I'm talking about.
They're some of America's biggest megachurch pastors.
Faith comes to a climax and produces.
Like Kenneth Copeland, who lives in this $6 million complex outside Dallas.
You may think that house is too big. I don't care what you think.
You want to know how big it is?
It's 40,000 square foot.
And Reverend Jesse Duplantis, who lives in this mega mansion outside New Orleans.
I'm protected from recessions and depressions.
This type of lavish lifestyle with private jets and sprawling estates has been spoofed in HBO's hit comedy series, The Righteous Gemstones.
You should be ashamed of yourself.
Well,
they're just trying to grab as much money as they can. It's pure greed.
Critics like Pete Evans of the televangelist watchdog group, the Trinity Foundation, say these preachers are using a legal way to avoid paying property taxes on their pricey homes.
You and I are financing their rich lifestyles.
Tax records show that each of these mansions is owned by the preachers' churches, which qualifies them to be tax-free under the parsonage exemption.
The parsonage tax exemption is a way for a church or a religious organization to buy a piece of residential property, have their pastor live in it, and then not pay property taxes on that parsonage. It's essentially a way to make the pastor's life a little bit easier and he can live a little bit cheaper.
Political scientist and pastor Ryan Burge believes the exemption should be used to help out pastors like Jason Fishburne, who lives in a more modest home with his wife and family where they host church events.
Everything from hosting gatherings to letting people come stay when they're in crisis, making meals for people out of your kitchen.
It's the kind of job that really becomes more of a lifestyle in many ways.
They say what little money they save on their property taxes is crucial to help make ends meet.
Things would be much tighter for us, for sure, without the exemption.
But take a look at these megachurch pastor examples. This home, owned by Redemption Church, where Pastor Ron Carpenter lives, is listed for sale on Redfin for almost $8 million.
If you have a multi-million-dollar house, your property tax bill could be $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year. But if it's classified as a parsonage, now you don't have to pay property taxes on that home. That $50,000 could pay the salary of an elementary school teacher in your local public school.
But according to tax records, the church paid no property taxes on it last year. Pastors Ivy and Bridget Hilliard live in this Spring, Texas complex owned by New Light Church World.
When I fly to my home and I see it, how it is spread out, and I look at all that God has blessed me with, and I thought about walking off. I'm glad I pressed my way. Amen, amen.
Records show it's worth $8 million, but they paid no property taxes last year. And this preacher pad may be the biggest of all the parsonages in America. The mansion behind me is where Pastor Jesse Duplantis lives. It's located outside New Orleans, and he has said it cost about $20 million to build. And he often brags about all the valuable artwork inside. But records from last year show neither Duplantis nor his church paid a single cent in taxes on this property.
I have the biggest house of any preacher in America. I'm saying that on television. You don't think they're going to nail me next week when I get home?
Duplantis didn't return our calls or emails, so we caught up with him in this Georgia church parking lot.
We wanted to ask you if you're paying property taxes on your mansion in Louisiana.
To me, those houses look more like a fortress than an open door. And I don't know how a person could justify that being an extension of the church.
Yeah, it's discouraging to see how far these guys have diverged from the teachings of Jesus.
It's like these preachers are throwing tantrums. No, I don't want to pay my taxes. I want to keep my house. I don't want to pay my taxes. I want to keep my pew. I want to keep my house. What the fuck? Y'all need to start paying your property taxes. What are we going to do about the loophole? You know what? I'm going to have... You know what? Hold on a second. I'm going to do it better. Let me do it better. Let's have Joey say it.
Cut it out. Get out.
Yeah. That's what we're going to do in that loophole. We're going to cut it out.
Cut it out. I love you.
See? Like that. We have to cut it out. It would be funny, except these megachurch crises want to cut them on. Okay, now I freaking ruined the Full House catchphrase. I'm a big Full House fan, so I don't even know what to say anymore. I mean, basic common sense would be pay your taxes, pay your property taxes. We don't need loopholes. And churches, they need to pay their taxes as well. Not just the churches, but the preachers. They need to pay their taxes. I mean, I have a friend who's a preacher at his church, and I'm not going to ask him whether he pays his property taxes or not. That's up to them. They don't want to do it. Hey, let them deal with the IRS with one hand behind his back and one hand behind the back and a pen and a card with a clipboard. And they'll take care of it. They'll take care of it really good. Alright. Could you, if you're a woman, could you learn how to defend yourself, even if you were a child? We're going to introduce you to some programs that could really help out with women's self-defense or child self-defense from Morgan Larson. Stay with us. And then also later on, a scam that you may never heard of. It involves the Travelers and Disney. Stay with us. I'm going to introduce you to this next story with a little King of the Hill joke. Shut up and give me your purse. I don't know you, that's my purse. Violence against women. It's not too often that we have to tell women to defend themselves. I mean, there's always women's self-defense classes that you as a woman can take at the YMCA. They probably don't do those anymore, but there's also karate. There's also learning how to defend yourself. And this week, on a Friday or Saturday, we're going to talk about how you can stay safe in America. Yeah, in America. By calling 911 about stranger danger. We're going to talk about all those things. But for the woman you're about to meet, it can't solve a problem for all children. Is it right, or does it promote more violence? Here's Margaret Larson.
These little ladies are learning some unladylike things. How to stop, hit, kick, and kick hard. No, it's not judo or karate. These 5 to 12-year-olds are taking a weekend class called Impact Personal Safety, though it could be called Street Fighting 101. For companies that teach these classes at schools or in private lessons in 14 states, the demand is growing every year.
I want a promise from each of you that you'll only do this if you're in danger.
The instructors are padded from head to toe, so the girls practice hitting full force. For many, it's the first time they've ever hit anyone.
Kick him in the groin.
It may seem radical, even unnatural, but the program's basic idea is this. The best way to prevent violence against women and girls is to teach them from a young age how to say no. And how to back it up.
And get ready
if they have to. 9-year-old Allison's parents signed her up for this one-day class after she was roughed up at school by a boy.
One day he put his hands around her neck and he choked her.
He choked her?
He choked her.
It was the last straw. In a year of bullying, Allison's parents couldn't find a way to stop.
Why do we use that?
They had told her to try reasoning with the boy or ignoring him.
Did you feel like you failed? I kind of felt like I gave her the wrong answers. All the tools I gave her didn't work.
No! No! Today, Allison is being taught another option.
You lift your whole body and stomp right in the foot.
So if the bully tries to choke her again, she can use her feet or her elbow to stop him cold. Not exactly sugar and spice and everything nice.
I would like to include in the spice rack some Tabasco. So that if somebody gets in your face, you have something that will sting.
Ellen Snortland is a certified self-defense instructor and the author of a new book called Beauty Bites Beast.
It's not a how-to book. This is a how-come book.
How come, Snortland wants to know, women are frequent targets of violence, yet growing up are taught almost nothing about self-defense?
My mission is to make self-defense as common and as accessible as learning how to swim.
In a world where women are trained, girls are trained to fight back physically, haven't we just added to the level of violence in the world?
I don't believe so. Perpetrators go, if I attack this person, there'll be no consequences. So, why shouldn't I? If all of a sudden there started to be consequences, rates of violence will go down.
Snortland's crusade began 10 years ago. On a night, she came home late.
A man meets me at the door with a knife like this.
She interrupted a burglary. She froze, then screamed. The man dropped the knife and ran. Although relieved, she became obsessed with the memory of her helplessness.
Why am I clueless about doing anything other than screaming?
That incident made Snortland realize women and girls need to take responsibility for their own safety. Now you might be saying, hey, wait a minute, maybe girls don't know how to fight, but some boys might not either. Well, Snortland says even without formal training, boys are simply better prepared for a physical confrontation than girls. They wrestle with their friends, play contact sports, and end up with more confidence in themselves physically.
You're just reaching forward as if you were reaching for a door, and then you're pulling. And you're
In these classes, girls and boys are taught to fight side by side. The boys seem eager to learn.
I see the boys going, ha, ha, they're playing.
They're active, they're physical.
Right. And the girls are reluctant, they're hanging back.
Until they see that a girl can do this. The children's preconceived ideas of each other quickly unravel. The girls see the boys are not invincible. The boys find out the girls don't have to be pushovers.
You and I both know there are a lot of parents who are going to say, this is unnatural to teach my girl this. Girls and women give life, nurture life. They're not made to be violent creatures. See, I don't agree with that because I don't see it anyplace else in the animal kingdom.
Take a look at dogs, Snortland says. All the puppies, male and female, defend themselves.
We don't tell the little girl puppies to go over there, don't get your fur dirty.
So all dogs, male and female, are equally fierce and command the same respect.
You don't go, oh, that's a female dog, I'm not afraid.
Is it possible that you're going to teach girls just enough to get them into trouble? To get them into circumstances they can't handle?
My experience is that when people have skills or knowledge, they're more discerning. I liken it to swimming. If you know how to swim, you know if the water's too deep or too rough for you. If you don't know how to swim, you're more apt to take foolhardy chances.
But is it realistic to believe a small girl can beat up a bigger boy or a man? Maybe not, but the object here is not to win a fight, but to learn to break a grip and run for help.
A deer would run the other way. Well, I'm going to too. But a deer, when it's cornered, will give you a real bad time.
I didn't expect to see him that aggressive.
I was amazed the way how she could hit so strong.
It all seems to work pretty well in the safety of a class with controlled, staged attacks. But what about real life, where kids have to be wary not just of strangers, but of people they know too, even other kids?
I think anytime where you feel helpless, it's scary.
14-year-old Ariella attended her very first school dance 2 years ago. A then 7th grader out with her friends.
We were excited and nervous and just, it was special.
It was a big deal.
Yeah, it was. It was important.
But instead of a junior high milestone, it turned out to be a traumatic evening that caused Ariella to avoid dances for almost 2 years. Shortly after she and her friends arrived at the gym, a group of 9th grade boys linked arms and surrounded them.
Once in a while, they'd try to stick their hands like up our dresses or blouses or whatever.
They tried to put their hands up your skirts?
Yeah.
The girls were trapped. Ariella could see fear on her friends' faces.
Because, they didn't really know what to do at all.
But Ariella did know. In fact, she'd taken self-defense training 4 years earlier, when she was 8. She says it made all the difference. When a boy reached up her blouse, she instinctively remembered what she'd learned.
I just, stomped on his foot and then I, hit him with my elbow.
And what did he do?
He let go of the circle.
He let go, and the girls got free.
Something just clicks and you do something,
Parents who believe in this training know they're not making their little girls invincible. But they believe a little less sugar and a bit more spice might be just the recipe for a safer world.
Proponents of these programs say when girls learn self-defense, their self-esteem goes up, and as a result, they're less likely to be singled out as victims. For more information, check out our Dateline website. The address is www.dateline.msnbc.com.
All right. Now that I mean, here's basically another bit of common sense. We need more of these programs and less of mommy and less of dads teaching your children how to fight. Think of the episode of King of the Hill, Bobby Goes Nuts. In that episode, Bobby gets attacked by Chang Wasana-san. During that time, Bobby didn't know how to defend himself. So Hank suggested to him that he take a boxing course at the YMCA. But boxing was full. So the instructor was like, there is one class, you may not like it. And so Bobby goes to the class. I would show you the episode, but I don't want to get a copyright strike. So what happened next would even stun the girls. So he attends to class, and the first thing he teaches him is how to kick people in the groin. Shut up and give me your purse. I don't know, that's my purse. It's a great way to teach them. So Bobby used it at school, and Hank thought that he took a boxing course at YMCA. But when he told them the truth, after he got caught by the principal, it was like the other way around because all the other courses were full. So then Hank decides to teach Bobby how to hit above the belt. I'm going to show you. On a small board. Really quick. I'll take a couple minutes. Take a couple minutes here. Okay. This, Bobby, is the belt line. You never, ever hit below that. Always above. The circle here, that's above. Never below. Never below. And if you're the one I move in women's self-defense class, you would prove to yourself that you're not a woman. Boxing gloves, side to side, pop, pop. That's how it always is. But if you ask proponents of these programs, they tell you that it helps self-esteem. So we really do need these programs. Not parents. We need these programs, and we don't need parents teaching our kids how to fight. And basically, to solve the problem, we don't need children fighting in our schools. Amen. Hallelujah. Not exactly, because the minute that happens, parent says, next time he bullies you, you go whoop her ass. No. If that ever happens again, you go straight to the office and you let them know what happened. If they won't listen, then you may call the parents. Don't go the other way around. Don't go the other way around and start taking things in your own hands. Maybe then you won't get Disney scammed. Coming up, this woman says she was scammed by Disney after an incident. She was part of the Travelers. We're going to tell you what the scam is and how she was a part of it when we come back. Stay with us. You may think you've heard of every scam a smart con artist can pull. Tonight, we're going to show you another scam that a con artist might have known. It involves Disney and a cult. What you're about to hear from this woman you're about to meet could be an example of a horror movie or a reenactment. Was it a scam or real, or was it real? Here's Lee Thompson.
911 emergency. What's wrong?
A frightening cry for help to 911.
Somebody was in my room when I came in. Did anybody hurt you?
It is Halloween night, 1992. A man dressed in a Dracula costume is seen wandering around the Caribbean beach resort at Walt Disney World.
He gave me everything, baby. I pretty took away his house. They raped me.
And you said somebody came in the room and beat you up?
According to police reports, 20-year-old Wanda Mary Normile had been hit in the face, tied to the bed with duct tape, struck repeatedly with a wooden club, and raped. By all accounts, it was a brutal attack.
Crying, sobbing. I remember actually having to kneel down on the floor to look up to her because she would not make eye contact with me. The duct tape all in the back of her hair that had been cut.
It is this image, the haunted look, that Orange County Sheriff's Detective Tom Harrison remembers.
Looking at her, I had no doubt in my mind at that point that there was a victim.
Normile told police she was vacationing at Disney World with her 10-month-old daughter and her sister. What no one knew, not the hotel staff, not the police, not Disney, was that Wanda Mary was no victim. She's a traveling con artist about to pull off one of the biggest scams ever.
The scam was for me to claim that I was beaten, robbed, and raped at a hotel at Disney.
And what did you hope to get from that?
Money. A lot of money.
Wanda Mary says it was her brother, Jimmy Burke, who actually hatched the idea after they watched a TV show on the lack of hotel security.
It was decided that I would be the victim because I'm 4'9", and at the time I weighed about 98 pounds. I was real thin. And that I was a good actress and I could pull it off.
So you were about to give the acting performance of your career?
Yes.
And police say the crime scene was very believable. It was dark, the room totally ransacked, blood spotted the sheets. The effects of the beating clearly visible, welts, bruises, cuts, and that glazed look, and tests confirmed sexual intercourse. You said that you'd been raped, and it looked that way. How did you pull that off?
Well, a friend of my uncle's, which I've known all my life, and we're the same age. We grew up together. Well, I kind of went over there and to his house and had sex with him.
And to set it all up, earlier that night, her brother Jimmy, dressed up as Dracula, tried to talk his way into her room, telling Disney staff he left his key and wallet behind. He never got in, but he hoped it would be remembered as if there was a lapse in security.
I let him in the room, and me and him ransacked the room, made it look like somebody went through all of our luggage. And he duct taped me to the bed, and beat me up and left.
Beat you up?
Yes.
What was going through your mind is your brother was beating the tar out of you.
Everything that I could buy with the money when we settled from the lawsuit.
With the evidence that I had, I could only go one way, and that was that this had happened.
And playing yet another role was Wanda Mary's concerned sister, Jessie. She's the one that filled in the details for the police. The hospital believed that you'd been raped?
Yes.
Disney believed that you'd been assaulted?
Yes.
What happened?
It was all believable. There was no flaws at all.
It seemed like the perfect con. And then, the sting. Wanda Mary Normile sued Disney for $3 million, blaming the company for inadequate security. And just as they had planned, Disney offered to settle, never knowing it had just been stung by a notorious crime family. Police know the faces of these people well because they have busted them for counterfeiting, shoplifting, and every kind of con game. What they don't know is that they are all part of a huge clan that travels around the country, targeting the elderly in home repair, paving, painting, and roofing scams.
Were you involved in a roofing scam?
These men and women are members of a secret society that calls itself the Irish Travelers. Police who follow them say many in the clan are out-and-out thieves.
If there's a scam out there, they've tried it.
Don Wright chronicled the criminal life of Wanda Mary's family in a book recently published.
She learned very quickly, she learned very well, and she became more skillful than most other travelers her age.
And you were going to make one of the biggest heists ever by a traveler.
Oh yes, everybody was going to talk about it for generations. I was going to be a legend.
And that was important to you?
Very important to me, yes.
Wanda Mary was born and raised a traveler, her birthright guaranteeing her a place in a world you and I can't enter.
It's a closed society. It's not known and it's not meant to be known.
A secret society with its own language, Kent, a mixture of Gaelic and English.
Like whenever I see somebody that I think is a traveler, I'll look at them and I'll say, Romanicho?
And what does that mean?
That means, are you a traveler? That's what it means, in one word.
Travelers have a strict code of honor. Protect the clan and keep your mouth shut. Why are you talking to us?
Because I feel like the public needs to know.
The traveler story goes back to the 19th century. Tinkers run out of Ireland for unsavory deeds took up business here in the United States. They split into different clans, crisscrossing the country looking for jobs, living out of trailers and motels. One group of about 2,000 travelers has settled here in South Carolina. Most have little education, dropping out by the 8th grade. Yet in Murphy Village, the signs of their success are everywhere, in the homes they build, in the cars they drive. Their customs unlike any you are ever likely to see. Dateline obtained a copy of this home video. Very young girls dressed in high heels and designer gowns paraded before the community in a coming out ritual.
She'll have a certain song she lip syncs to. And then when she does that, and then she'll dance on the runway, she'll change 2 or 3 times, and show off her clothes and her body, what she looks like.
Marriages are arranged. A young girl's family may pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for a good provider. It is not unusual for first cousins to marry. And as Dateline first reported this spring, the bride's often very young and the groom's much, much older. How young are these girls having babies?
One that I knew of that had a set of twins, she was 11.
11 years old.
11 years old, she had a set of twins.
It is a way of life totally foreign to most of us, but a way of life Wanda Mary knows well. A way of life where kids play con games. Wanda Mary says she was just a little girl when her uncle handed her $20 for a special treat.
He said, "Did you know what you just did?" I was like, "Went to the store and got candy." He said, "No. You just used Gammy-Glon."
What's Gammy-Glon?
Translated to English means counterfeit money.
And you never knew it?
No. He said, "Wasn't that easy?" I said, "Yeah." He was like, "You want some more?" I said, "Yeah."
They don't do anything else from the time they're born until the time they die except run scams. And they're extremely good at it.
Wanda Mary admits to having 28 different aliases, running repair scams and shoplifting, and she says it was a great life.
You know how dope addicts say they get that rush? Well, I got the same rush off of walking out with something for free. I didn't steal it. They gave it to me because I talked them out of it.
And she got away with it over and over again, until the big one. The multi-million-dollar scam of Disney. With so much money at stake, Wanda Mary says the sisters started fighting about control.
She was going to be my financial advisor. The check was to go in her name. And I said no. Because I knew what she was going to do. She was going to get the check in her name and take it. All of it.
Police had reached a dead end when Detective Harrison heard Wanda Mary's sister Jessie wanted to talk. She wanted to turn her family in. Jessie outlined the entire scheme in a tape-recorded conversation.
It happened so fast I had no time to think about it, other than I knew it was wrong. I knew I didn't want a part of it, but I was in it.
It just totally took me by surprise when she came forward with all this.
Nearly a year after that 911 call for help, a case of rape suddenly became an investigation of fraud. She snitched on you.
Very much so. Oh, yes. Yes, bad.
They're very good actors, very convincing, and very methodical in their schemes.
And in the end, what happened to the players in this con game? The scam police say may be the most sophisticated sting the travelers have ever tried. Well, Disney kept its money and doesn't want to talk about the whole affair. And Jessie, the concerned sister who turned Wanda Mary in, all charges were dropped and she returned home. Her brother Jimmy, the instigator and perpetrator, died of AIDS before he could be arrested. And Wanda Mary, the one who took the beating by thinking of all that money, she pleaded guilty to grand theft. She would spend the next 18 months behind bars. You were very good at what you did.
I have those trusting eyes that they can look into and they're like, oh, okay, look, this nice young lady trying to make a living.
Wanda Mary's now out on 20 years probation and is paying off fines of $24,000. And she claims she is starting a new life with her daughter. The time in jail, she says, convinced her to change her traveler ways. If you weren't in your present circumstances, do you think you'd still be out there?
Yes, I would.
Have you really come clean?
Yes, I have. And I can say I have with all the confidence in the world because I know what I've got and I have too much to lose.
And she says all that with those trusting eyes.
As for those travelers who seemingly have found a safe haven in their home state of South Carolina, the Attorney General there says no more. In response to 2 earlier reports Dateline did on the travelers, South Carolina has created a task force to investigate the gang. The Attorney General promises to take a special look at the welfare of those child brides.
Wow. Child brides. Underage cons. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. Now for a story about climate change. No, Al Gore did not accuse Yo Mama of global warming when she farted. No, this is a different kind. This one has a question. Why wind and solar make our power grid less reliable? To answer that question, you gotta figure out how much electricity is being used per dollar and why your electric bill is up. As John Stossel will tell you, it's a less reliable power grid unlike any other.
We choose to assert ourselves as a global leader in transitioning to 100% renewable energy.
Scaled up across the country right now.
Renewable power is so much better, we're told. Instead of increasing pollution, we get carbon-free power from the sun and the wind.
And I might add, windmills do not cause cancer.
A new documentary series, Juice, Power, Politics, and the Grid, notes that politicians have pushed renewable energy for a long time.
Jimmy Carter put solar panels on the roof of the White House. It's quite intuitive for people to understand that there's a lot of power in solar energy. We feel the wind, and the idea that you can get something for nothing. People find that enormously appealing.
This is our moment. A comprehensive, clean energy bill for our country.
Leaders in California are aiming to generate 50% of their electricity from renewables by 2030.
California might now achieve that, but to get there, they're forcing people to pay much more.
The cost of electricity in California has increased 3 times faster than the rest of the U.S.
People in Washington now pay an average 11 cents per kilowatt hour. In Oregon, they pay 13 cents. In California, though, almost 30 cents. Do they at least get reliable energy for that? No. There's a problem with wind turbines and solar power.
They don't work when the wind isn't blowing and the sun isn't shining.
Blackouts happened over the weekend with little notice.
California learned that renewable power isn't reliable.
2 million people now plunged into darkness across California.
Even the governor admitted.
We failed to predict and plan.
A few years later, California only avoided another blackout by pressuring people to cut their power use.
Keep doing what you've done. 1 or 2 more nights of this, and we will turn the page.
Will they? So far, their biggest impact is to make things cost more.
California will require all new homes to have solar power.
It's the reason California has the most expensive housing in America. The average house now costs almost $800,000. If you can afford that, you get government money for generating solar power. but the handout mostly goes to rich people, and it's inefficient.
As their solar panels produce power during the day when the sun is up, they're able to sell the excess power that they produce into the grid exactly when the grid doesn't need it. The grid is then inundated with solar power and can't use it all. Nonetheless, they get paid a very high price for that power. And then when the grid actually does need the power and they aren't producing solar and nobody is producing solar, then they get to buy their power back at a reduced rate.
Nice for homeowners, but of course poor people who pay rent.
Those people are paying for the rich people to have a highly subsidized solar system.
I put solar panels on my house, partly because of a tax credit. But I won't delude myself into thinking that solar or wind power are especially green. Solar panels and wind turbines impose environmental costs too.
Just to produce one turbine, we have to extract 900 tons of steel, 2,500 tons of concrete, and 45 tons of non-renewable plastic. Then we've got to transport that and burn fuel, getting it all carried across the world and put up. And none of these things that go into a turbine are renewable. They're going to eventually wear out.
Now most shut down in just 10 years to do maintenance that gives the energy company another tax credit. The maintenance costs almost as much as a new turbine. But it's worth it to companies because the renewable movement's driven mostly by government handouts.
The Biden administration announced today an $11 billion subsidy to bring clean energy into rural communities.
Of course, free government money puts wind and solar in inappropriate places.
Even with our snowy, dark winters, Minnesota ranks 11th in the country for solar power.
Because taxpayers fund it.
The state's about to give me a whole bunch of subsidies to build wind and solar in Minnesota. To build solar in Minnesota. Scenic, sunny Minnesota.
How well do solar panels work in snow?
Not well. The Juice series highlights the stupidity of subsidizing energy that just feels green. It won't measurably affect climate change. When solar and wind become more efficient, then they'll be cheaper and people will adopt them on our own. Politicians should just stop their destructive meddling.
We will eliminate in the state of California the sales of internal combustion engines.
You can watch the full documentary at juicetheseries.com.
And we're not going to do that. But there is something out there that you can do. Just cut back your electric bill on what you use. Then you won't be like Julius to try to save your money. Because maybe then you'll know that. Maybe then you'll save money from your electric bill. Or have your electric bill probably higher. We'll be right back. March is here, and you know what that means? It's spring break, baby. That's right, it's spring break. And you guys are traveling to Florida, but if you are, we're breaking up with you. No, not that type of breakup. We're talking about to where if you do something illegal, they may arrest you. As you're about to see, some people are having very negative comments about this. Take a look.
Spring break breakup from Miami Beach after years of scenes like this. Miami Beach is telling spring breakers we're over.
This isn't working anymore.
And it's not us. It's you.
The city is even putting out this public service announcement.
You just want to get drunk in public and ignore laws. Do you even remember what happened last March?
Last spring break was one of the most unruly ever, with 2 murders, including a brazen assassination.
The city of Miami Beach is currently under a state of emergency.
When curfews were imposed, they were often ignored by thousands of revelers. Police used pepper balls to break up the crowds. Now, authorities are reinforcing the breakup message with new tough restrictions designed to discourage visitors, including 6 p.m. beach closures, $100 flat fee parking, DUI checkpoints, and bag searches. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is backing the effort to shut down spring break.
We welcome people to come and have a good time. What we don't welcome is criminal activity. What we don't welcome is mayhem and people that want to wreak havoc.
There are some that are saying that there may be a fact that they're trying to keep black beachgoers from going.
Oh,
That's crazy.
Ooh, that's no bueno.
But the police are denying that, telling Inside Edition we police conduct, not color. The new rules are already having an impact.
If you plan on coming to Miami Beach for spring break, don't do it. It's not exciting to be down here, and they're stopping literally everybody for anything.
Will Miami Beach and spring break ever get back together?
Maybe we can talk when you're done with your spring break phase, but until then.
It's like this. We get it. Y'all want to go and party? Yay, it's spring break. Let's get drunk. Yeah. It's spring break, baby. Let's all get drunk. It's spring break, baby. We get it. Y'all want to party, have a great time and all. We get it. What about William and I? We have to make sure that spring break is safe. And what does that mean exactly? It just means you guys are having a great time out there. Spring break can lead to lawbreakers and drunk driving incidents. You may be, it may be happening here in Texas, but in Florida they're doing a breakup. But we're breaking up with you. What we need to understand here, we want spring break to be fun. For not just for teens, but for children. You go to the beach, you go act all freaking drunk in front of a child. We can't have that happening. We want spring break to be where y'all can have fun. Then there's the issue of underage drinking. The whole reason for spring break is common sense. Two words. Underage drinking. That's those two words. If you're under 18, it is illegal to drink, to have alcohol, to consume alcohol under the age of 18. That's illegal. In any of the 50 states, underage drinking, that's illegal. Y'all may find loopholes like say, oh, I have a text under 21 ID. That could help. If you're here in Texas and you have an under 21 ID, that might help. But you're still you're 18. You gotta wait. I'm gonna tell you this. Y'all won't get confused. You're not an adult until you're 18. 18 years of age. By then, you still gotta wait 3 more years before you can take a drink. The age to drink is 21. Nobody understands that. At 17, you're just taking a full sip of alcohol, and then all of a sudden, you already puked. Not only is underage drinking legal, but alcohol destroys brain cells. That's what alcohol does to you. And when you're puking in that toilet, your body is sending you a message saying that alcohol is poison. And you may say, well, I see mom and dad drink all the time. Why do they drink it? The answer may be because there's things inside them that they need to kill. That's basically the answer. Is that the answer you're looking for? I hope it is. Then Laura Bell Bunny won't even come in and play you Giddy On Up and out to get Laura Bell Bunny and tell you to giddy on up and giddy on out. So everybody has to make sure that this does not happen again. And that nothing should ever happen like that. Okay. If you have eight things you do while you're sick, then tonight's Bobby's gonna be it. Take a look.
Voice sound like Vin Diesel after deep throating a banana? Does your voice sound like Vin Diesel after deep throating a banana? Well, you may be sick. Now don't panic. Even though your options are limited, there are still plenty of things you can do. So here are 8 tips of what to do while sick. Tip number 1, masturbate. Let's face it, you're not feeling great and left in front of a computer for hours. Might as well get a quick dopamine fix. Quite frankly, your entire day should revolve around this. Sleep, eat, masturbate, repeat. Your only problem is you're gonna have to keep escalating. Sure, the first...
That's inappropriate. Okay? That's inappropriate. I don't do violent breaks that are very inappropriate. But here's one.
Yo, Chains, I'll pay you $5 if you pull that fire alarm right there.
Oh,
run.
James, do you know why I've called you into my office today?
No, you see, that little stunt you pulled has led you to a 1-week suspension. God damn it. What does suspension mean? It means for the next week you are prohibited from coming to school. Fuck. Well, what does prohibited mean? James, you can't come to school for the next week. Hold up, so you're telling me because I pulled the fire alarm I don't have to go to school for a week? Yes, it's a suspension. You are... Man, I got a love-hate relationship when it comes to getting suspended from school. Like, on one hand, shit, you just don't have to go to school. But on the other hand...
Suspended? Oh, I'm gonna suspend that ass.
Alright, I don't recommend getting suspended. That shit is not worth it. But how do I know? This story dates way, way, way back to grade 7. It was a cold winter day at Stickman Middle School. In fact, it was freezing cold, and this gave Billy a great idea. Yo, the pond behind the school is frozen. Let's go fuck around on it. Oh, I'm down. Okay, bet. So after school, we got a group of 5 homies, and we headed over to the frozen pond. Now, to paint the picture, behind Stickman Middle School was Stickman Elementary School, and behind Stickman Elementary School was this frozen pond, meaning we had to walk through Stickman Elementary School to get to this pond. But nonetheless, we walk up to the pond, and instantly I see this big red sign that says, "Hazard, do not step on ice." Guys, the sign says do not step on ice. Fuck the sign. Watch this. Oh shit, look, it's sturdy as fuck. Oh, fuck. And even though Billy's dumbass fell in, the ice was actually pretty sturdy. So you know, we're gliding around, eating shit, hitting the meanest ballerina spins you've ever seen, and eating shit, and we were having some good old harmless fun. In fact, our grade 7 selves were having the time of our lives on this frozen water. That is until... Oh, what do you guys think you're doing? We were just walking on the ice. Did you guys not see the sign? What sign? I could have swore I put a sign right here. Nope, no sign at all. There was no sign. I have no clue what you're talking about. Okay, but you guys have to get off the ice. Well, why? Nobody's getting hurt. Yeah, we're safe. Okay, it's your choice. You're gonna regret this. So we continued with our ice skating antics for approximately 10 more minutes. Until the same lady came back up to the pond, but this time she was equipped with a Sony Alpha A7 mirrorless digital camera with the extendo lens. In other words, she was quite literally about to catch us in 4K. But at least she doesn't know what school we go to. Hey, what school do you guys go to? Not Stickman Middle School. Absolutely not. No, definitely not. Fuck, she knows. We had to think quick. How are we gonna smoothly get out of this situation without getting in trouble? So we called a boys' emergency meeting. We huddled up and discussed our best plans to get out of this situation. And after combining all of our genius grade 7 brains, we made the ultimate plan. If we started moving the camera, it would then be illegal for her to take pictures of our middle school cheeks. I don't know how this became our best option, but regardless, we put the plan in motion. I mean, me personally, I got a little shy and kept my pants up, but some of the boys were out there going crazy, looking more caked up than Summer Rae. And after a little while, the lady must have decided it wasn't a great look to have a camera pointed at some 12-year-old cheeks, and she left. Which means the plan had worked flawlessly. Now the next day at school, I had completely forgot about it, to be honest. But strangely enough, while I was sitting in math class, I hear the little class phone start ringing. Hello? Oh yes, he's here. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll send him your way. Thank you. Chains, Mr. Principal wants to talk to you. And at this point, I should have picked up on why I was being called to the office, but I had complete faith in our foolproof plan of mooning this stranger that the thought of being in trouble didn't even cross my mind. That was until I walked into the office to see every single one of the boys sitting in Mr. Principal's office. But Mama didn't raise a snitch, so we started capping our asses off.
So, what did you guys do after school yesterday?
Nothing. I played Fortnite. I was doing homework.
Don't play stupid with me. I got a call from Mrs. Principal over at Stickman Elementary. So tell me, what were you doing on the pond yesterday?
I wasn't there. It wasn't us. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't even know what a pond is.
I see. Well, I've got evidence.
And as he shows us this undeniable evidence, you can see this dude Billy's cheeks in the corner of one of the pictures. So I slowly look over at Billy, and he looks over at me.
If you don't stop laughing right now, you're all suspended. That's it. You're all suspended.
And as I explained the situation to my mom, let's just say Mama Chains was not happy.
Now you know what it's like to get suspended. Bottom line is, don't get suspended. That's all for this edition of Give Me Break Wednesday going to Thursday. We'll see you again for Give Me Break Friday. We're off for Throwback Thursday, so we'll see you again for Give Me Break Friday. Actually, we'll see you again for Throwback Thursday. If not, we'll see you for Friday. Good night.